potentially the next First Lady of the United States. Okay, she's beautiful. She gave that speech to the Republican National Convention. Some of it came from Michelle Obama.
Yeah, she detailed, though, how she came to this country, and there's speculation, there's been a lot of reports, that perhaps, possibly, it was done illegally.
Well, I'm going to read from Politico now. In a January profile in Harper's Bazaar, Melania said she would return home from New York to renew her visa every few months. This is back in the 90s when she was a model. It never crossed my mind, she said, to stay here without papers. That is just the person you are. You follow the rules. You follow the law. Every few months you need to fly back to Europe and stamp your visa. After a few visas, I applied for a green card and got it in 2001. She later became a U.S. citizen. The story goes on. Trump's tale of returning to Europe for periodic visa renewals is inconsistent with her holding what they call an H-1B visa. At all times, she was living in New York. Even if she was the lesser-known H-1B visa specifically designed for models. All right, it gets a little bit complicated, but those pictures came out earlier this week on the front page of the New York Post. She said all along that she came here in 1996. Apparently, those photos were taken in 1995, and that's where it gets tricky for her. If she were here in 95, what kind of visa did she have? Did she have the kind of visa that she has publicly maintained? Let's bring in an immigration attorney. He's an expert on these matters. He's actually worked with the Trump organization regarding models. Mr. Michael Wildes, noted immigration attorney. Welcome to Good Day New York.
Pleasure. How are you? Hello.
Good to see you.
All right, you've seen the reports. Did she do anything wrong?
No. Honestly,
Sure.
I represent the Trump model agency, and I've represented the Miss Universe organization when Donald owned it. You know, the visas now are H-1B3, a carve-out for fashion models, or O visas, which are visas for people who are a higher standard. I believe from all the reports she had the H-1B3 visa, which would require traveling back and forth to get the visa if necessary. I think this whole thing is moot. First of all, you should know I'm a Democrat and I do represent the Trump model agency, but I'm an ardent supporter of Secretary Clinton. And if I felt that this was an issue politically, it would be something that, you know, I would step away from. But there's no legal merit to this issue because the photos that were taken, Greg, were taken for a foreign magazine, and that would be permitted activity. Now look,
interesting. The foreign magazine, even if the photos were taken in New York.
So this is a disgruntled photographer, and there are de minimis acts, small acts that are permitted while you're in America on a visitor's visa. If this was an intermittent time, and I can't speak to that time because I didn't represent the agency or the family at that time. One comment, if I can.
Yeah.
I'm a second-generation immigration lawyer. My dad got a green card for John Lennon. There was a hallmark case in 1960s where there were a dragnet of tailors that were arrested for doing small acts in America. It was a hallmark case, matter of hero, that allows for individuals to take certain activities on U.S. soil, and it's not in derogation of a visitor's visa.
Yeah, I'm going to get a second opinion here legally from that Politico story. If she was traveling to the U.S. on a B-1 business visa, there could be a problem. She would not have been authorized to work in the U.S. while on a B-1 visa. And if she represented to a customs agent entering the U.S. that, let's see here, that she intended to work for a U.S. employer, the individual will usually be denied admission. All right, that gets a little complicated, but again, they're saying that there's an issue.
Let me clear the whole picture. She has a green card. She has citizenship. That these issues merge and have been handled. Her character is beyond reproach, an element for citizenship. She got it in 2006, and the green card will have done and dusted all of these issues, particularly if it had come up. There is no reason to believe, other than political banter, that there's anything untoward here. And again, there are activities, and this is a disgruntled photographer, that are permitted on U.S. soil.
Now, how do you know he's disgruntled? How do you know he's disgruntled?
Because it looks like people are trying to make small things. This is do
you know this guy?
I don't know this guy, but I have to tell you, I know the Trump organization and the family, and I'm speaking now as a lawyer. They are highly sensitive, not only on their family members, but in their corporate holdings, to respect all immigration controls and rules.
So, Mike, let's just talk quickly. You said that the H-1B1 visa no longer, does it still exist in its current form?
The H-1B3 is a carve-out for models. It exists, but it's a very poor solution because there's only a certain amount. They're only available outside of Fashion Week, which is a remarkable tale in of itself. The O visa is really the go-to visa. If she were doing a modeling career now, she would be going for the O visa.
Okay, you're telling me, though, if she were here working as a model, the visa that she was here under would have required her to go back to Slovenia every few months, like she said she did? She has said on the record that whatever visa she had here as a working model, she had to go home and stamp the visa. We've got several experts saying that could not have been the case.
H-1B3 visas are generally lasting domestically for 3 years, but there are visa
So the tale of going back to the country.
You have to, let me answer your question. You must go back to the American embassy in order to get extensions. I don't know offhand if Slovenia allows you admission for such limited times that it requires you to go back, or if she went back and forth on visitor's visa genuinely, but there was nothing untoward with her activity.
How about this? Is it possible, though, that...
It would have been vetted for the green card and she would not have gotten it.
I hear you. What about this? Maybe she just thought, like, that was, who knows, H-1B. She's not an immigration attorney. She's not an expert. She did not know the ins and outs of this. Maybe a modeling agency told her that she had to go back and forth.
The government, our border controls were actually excellent in the policing of these visas. She would not have been admitted in any category unless they felt that she was vetted properly at that time for a model visa.
Oh, man, you know,
so
you and I both know people slip through the cracks all the time.
Yeah,
right, but you're saying, though, that
they've always been tough on models, Greg. They've always been tough.
Michael, you're saying that the fact that they actually went ahead and gave her her green card and then approved her for citizenship shows that along the way she actually did follow proper protocol because this would have come up.
If this issue had come up, then a waiver would have been put forward, and a waiver then would have cleaned up the act, and she would have then had a green card, and then there would be no issue for citizenship. I don't think that this issue was an issue, and again, I don't think her conduct merits any kind of disdain or judgment. Well, politically or legally.
Politically, look, I like Melania. She's been here. This is the kind of thing you go through when you run for president. This is why a lot of people don't want to go into politics.
They dig through your closet.
Because every aspect of your life is discussed, sometimes wildly inaccurately, sometimes accurately. Who knows?
I sat here as a mayor in New Jersey, in Englewood, New Jersey, when I took on Gaddafi. Nobody knows the kind of scrutiny that an elected official or somebody like yourself, Greg, where you have family members involved in public service. But this is not an issue that merits this kind of disdain, judgment, or scrutiny, because this is a family and a business that does respect the rule of law.
But it does.
And I say that as a Democrat. I say that.
Yeah, I know, but you've also done work for the Trump organization, and you know your opinion is your opinion. We appreciate it, though. You've got some expertise. Michael Wildes, where can people find you if they've got an immigration situation?
Wildeslaw.com. Again, WILDESLAW.com.
All right, Michael Wildes, thank you so much. We can keep talking about this, I think, forever and ever. But first, let's talk about